Hey. How's it going? And welcome back to another question. In today's question, we're going to be asking, Bobby is asking me, can I retire in Mexico if the peso keeps getting stronger? And so we're going to be talking about this topic in this episode, in this live stream. This is a question that was asked of me, which will require an answer from me. And so again, how this works is that you, the audience, gets to reach out to me, ask me a question, and then as soon as you ask me a question, we come to an agreement as to how much it's going to be, and then I go on ahead and talk about it, make a live stream, and we do 3 every Thursday, and every month, once a month, I do a super live stream in which I go live for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever time it takes as to answer all of your questions, where you guys can just go speed round, and bomb me with a bunch of questions, and I give you all the answers, right then and there. But this is a fun way in which we can all help each other out, in which you can ask me a question that everybody wants to know the answer to, not just you. So there's a way that, again, this is a great way to help the community, help other expats, other foreigners, other people that are looking into this kind of information and then some. So in today's video, this is a question that keeps coming up more and more every day. The question is, can I still retire in Mexico if the peso keeps getting stronger? Now, this is a very complicated topic and complicated question and answer as well, so we're just gonna get right into it. Shout out, by the way, real quick, shout out to all my patrons, all the members, every single one of you guys watching right now, whether you're watching live or you're watching this in the future or in the past. Can you watch it in the past? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, the point is, shout out to everyone out there. You guys are the best. Shout out to Hiv Loco out there. I know I always say your name wrong, but I think that it's that's the, I think we've all determined, right? Or we've all agreed on, that's the name. That's the best name to call you, so I don't, have an aneurysm. Okay, so shout out to Todd Meek out there. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And shout out to everyone out there. But anyway, so this question is really going to depend on you. The answer is going to depend on you. So, for example, me. Can I still retire in Mexico if the peso keeps getting stronger? Hell yeah. Can you? I don't know. It's going to depend on you. So if all of your income is based out of US dollars or perhaps another currency, like my Canadian friends out there are having a really tough time these days, then again, it's probably going to be rough on you, because now all of a sudden the coin has flipped. And then you understand how most countries feel, okay, with with a strong dollar. So now that you have a weak dollar and you depend on the dollar or the Canadian dollar or the euro or whatever, now you're starting to feel how they have felt for a very long time. So now the coin has flipped. So again, just going back to, will you be able to retire in Mexico? So look, the short answer is, again, depends on you. So if you have a very high retirement, you got a lot of money coming in, from Social Security, pension, 401k, investments, I don't know, you got money, then you're going to be fine, because even if it goes 1-to-1, you'll be fine. But if all you got is like $1,000 in Social Security these days, and you have really expensive taste, you're probably not going to do okay. You know what I mean? Because the average Mexican these days, the average Mexican that just works an average normal job. Remember, we talked about this in other episodes, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from Mexicans proving me right. So I don't want to hear it from all these expats or foreigners out there like, oh, the government stats. Look, I don't care, all right? That's not how it works in Mexico, all right? So that's not what here or there. We're talking about you and your dollar, all right? And whether you're going to make it or not. So look, if the average Mexican these days, just an average regular Mexican driving a bus, digging a hole, having a regular good job, a good regular job, okay? I'm digging holes for the government, or I drive the bus for a nice company, whatever, things like that, So not just like, your remedial job, but just an average, regular, everyday job. They're making around $900 to $1,000 a month already. So imagine, other Mexicans that, are entrepreneurs and make more, other Mexicans that have better jobs, better careers, and I can go on and on. So, and remember, they're making more money. The Mexican is making more money, and that money that they're making, okay, is worth more. Because sure, here, I'll give you an example. This hairbrush, okay, or it could be a food item, all of a sudden cost more everywhere around the world, okay, including Mexico. Remember, we have inflation here too. It's a different topic, but, this is costing more money. But again, while in the U.S., this hairbrush, instead of costing $1, now costs $3, and you're making less money, this is no bueno. But if all of a sudden, again, you're in Mexico and this now costs $3, but you're making 3 times the amount, does it matter? Does it even matter? Did it really go up in price? You know what I mean? So it's things like that, okay? Just keep that in mind, okay, as to why you're seeing the Mexicans driving the BMWs and not you, all right? But with that being said, so if you're just relying on retirement and you just have a measly check, it's probably not a good idea right now to move to Mexico, okay? Especially if you have very high cost of living, or, you want the fancy things, okay? Now, if you are if you are used to, I don't know, if you're let's say used to camping, you're used to living a certain lifestyle where you don't want the fancy things, you do like to enjoy nature, you do, you're not all about, keeping up with the Joneses, you want to go out to, okay, as long as you kind of keep your costs down and, you basically live a very humble and regular life, then yeah, that $1,000, even if the peso keeps getting stronger, the dollar keeps dropping, you'll be okay. But it's all going to be dependent on you, okay? And so that's what I'm trying to get at. At the end of the day, the reality is that, for some people, it is still an amazing choice and a very smart choice and a very good choice for them to come to Mexico, even if their retirement is only like $1,000 or $1,200 a month, because they realize that in the U.S., that's not enough for anything at all. And, who knows what they got to do to make ends meet. In Mexico, that is still like lower middle class or middle class, okay? So, hey, you know what I mean? As long as you keep your, as your value of your dollar drops and the peso gets stronger and you're able to kind of, spend less, budget correctly, and so on and so forth, you'll be fine. If you're coming to Mexico in order to survive, okay, again, you have a very, very small income, okay, and it's all dollars or Canadian, whatever, or whatever it is you got. And your idea is like, hey, I need to survive, I need to live, I need a better life, you'll be fine. You got nothing to worry about. But if you're looking at Mexico, like Club Med, hey, I want to come to Mexico and I'm going to be living, my best life ever, and I'm going to be, and you only got like a small budget, look, maybe Mexico's not correct for you. There are a bunch of places around the world right now in which your dollar, okay, is going to be worth what the dollar's worth, meaning, hey, you can go to a lot of countries around the world right now and you can still get like a full 3-course meal for like $1.25. $1.25 is going to buy you a Coke. It's going to buy you 2 Cokes in Mexico, okay? But it's not going to buy you a case of Cokes. You get what I'm saying? Like in Thailand or Philippines or I don't know, or other Latin American countries out there. So long story short, Mexico's also getting expensive. Mexico's becoming more, expensive in the sense of like the first world. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you got a high net worth, yeah, Mexico's a great idea, for anyone that's, getting higher net worth or has high net worth and can take that hit as it comes. You'll be fine. You can retire out here, no problem. But if your net worth is very low, and you're basically making a paycheck to paycheck, Social Security paycheck to Social Security paycheck a month, then I don't know, Mexico's going to be right for you. It just depends on your, ability to budget correctly, your cost of living, what your wants, needs, desires, all these things are, and assuming you can take the hit as the dollar drops, okay? Because look, let's just put this into perspective. At the beginning of the year, 6 months ago, it was still $1 will get you 20 pesos. So $1 or $1,000 got you 20,000 pesos. But as of today, $1 gets you 17 pesos, give or take. Okay? So $1,000 is going to be 1,700 pesos. 1,700 pesos, all right? 17,000 pesos, sorry. Here, you know what? Let me shut up for a second. Let me show you this, okay? That'll be better. Okay, so look. Jeez, I'm terrible. But anyways, let's say that you got $1,000, okay? So $1,000, instead of giving you 20, okay? Instead of giving you $20,000, okay, for 1,000, it's now giving you 17. And let's put this into perspective, okay? So right there, you're seeing that it's basically almost a $3,000 disparity, okay? So what is $3,000? 3,000 pesos. So the 3,000 pesos is look at that. At the beginning of the year, okay, your $1,000 was giving you 20,000 pesos. But now that same $1,000 has lost $175 in value. So really, your $1,000, what you're really doing is that you're really exchanging $825. So it's lost basically almost 20%. And again, you can do the math, again, what is the percentage from 20 some odd pesos to 17 pesos, okay? So just to, again, you can get into perspective. So if it keeps dropping, okay, think about it. Let's say it goes down to 16. Okay, so let's say it goes down to 17. Okay, so basically from so 175, okay? Now we're going to divide 175 over here on my other calculator. So 175 divided by 3, okay? That's about $58 in value you're going to be losing, okay, for every dollar it drops. So right now, if it goes to 16, if it goes down to 16, all of a sudden now, out of $1,000, okay? Out of $1,000, it's going to be, hold on, what's the math here? We'll add 60 to this. So 30, 35. So it'll be $235 you're going to lose, okay? So if it goes down to 15, so now you get what I'm saying? So like imagine that it drops all the way down to 10. So instead of 1 to 17, okay? Okay? Instead of 1 to 17 like that, imagine if it's 1 to 10. So that means that you're only going to get, out of $1,000, you're only going to get $500 out of value. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the thing. And so guess what? As that currency drops, as your currency drops, well, the things in Mexico are basically going to stay the same price. But now they're going up in price and for you constantly. And let's say they do go up in price because there's inflation around the world and they will go up in price. Well, how much more expensive is it going to get for you? You follow me? So these are things that you got to consider. Now, why is this happening in Mexico? Why is it not happening in other countries? Again, this is another topic for another day, but I'm going to give you the rundown. Long story short, Mexican peso, the Mexican currency, is getting stronger, and it's only going to keep getting stronger. So this is going to keep dropping. That means your dollar is going to be worth less in Mexico, same as every other currency. It doesn't matter what the currency is. It could be a Japanese yen, it could be a Turkish lira, it could be a euro, it could be, I don't give a crap what it is. Whatever currency against the peso is going to lose value constantly, okay? Now, the dollar against the yen, the dollar against other currencies, okay? Let's say, again, the Turkish lira against the whatever currency, man, the Filipino, whatever, the Thailand baht, whatever. I don't care. The Honduran, whatever the hell, the Nicaraguan, what's we call it, okay, so I think they're all pesos. Well, all I'm saying is that the dollar against all of these other currencies, well, it's doing the same as usual, meaning, hey, the dollar's getting strong and the local currency, the Turkish lira, the Russian ruble, the Japanese yen, whatever, they're losing value. So you can go other places with the dollar and you'll be fine, except for Mexico. Now Mexico's getting more expensive. Look, for people that are old enough, you know that there are times in which you can go visit Europe because it's crazy cheap, and other times where you can't visit Europe because it's expensive as hell. So in Mexico, it's always been pretty cheap, but these days it's getting more expensive. And if you're thinking about, just doing a trip, hey, I'm going to come out to Mexico, have a little vacation, it's still going to be inexpensive. It's still going to be fine. But if you're coming out here to live and all you're doing is depending on the dollar, as your currency, even if you got a remote job and you're making only dollars, it might not be in your best interest. Because look, I'll give you an example, just so you can understand. Let's say that you make $3,000 working for a remote company in the USA, and it goes 1 to 10. That $3,000 is only worth $1,500. And so you might think to yourself, well, wait a minute, I can just move to, I don't know, some cheap rural town in the USA, and my $3,000 is going to be worth $3,000. Okay? As opposed to here, where it's now worth $1,500. And again, I'm not going to get as much per se. Again, you got to do the math. Every situation is completely different, and you need to figure it out. So, and you need to keep an eye on what's going on here. And so what is making the peso stronger? So for example, I've talked about this multiple times before, where now, me and Christian, me and my wife, we like to watch travel videos, we like to watch all that stuff. So, when we watch travel videos, when I'm doing the conversion, let's say with the travel guy is in Japan or in the Philippines or in Africa, wherever they are, Austria, whatever. When we're doing the conversion, I do it in pesos because I live out here now. It's basically pesos, and so she can understand better. And every time we're doing these in pesos, it doesn't matter where we are, we're like, oh my God, maybe we should go to Austria. It's so cheap. Oh my God, that's how cheap it is to go to Japan. Because we go to Japan, it's like, oh my God, these people are paying like $300 in rent. Again, in pesos. Oh my God, that meal, that 5-course meal at that fancy Japanese restaurant was only like $5 in pesos. You know what I'm saying? And so all of a sudden, pesos are getting strong because, okay, the reality is, look, I'm going to give you the layman terms, the real reality as to why this is happening. During the last few years, when we had our medical emergency around the world, most countries around the world printed money into oblivion. Okay, again, you guys can do more research on this, but I'm just giving you the layman terms. Most countries printed their money into oblivion. So when they printed their money into oblivion, well, guess what? They lost value. Mexico did not do that. Mexico did not print. Mexico did not take any loans like most countries did. And so because of those factors, plus other factors, again, they got silver, lithium, oil, a lot of these things which they're basically nationalizing and all this other stuff. Long story short, they are setting themselves up to have a strong currency, okay? Plus, they have a strong economy. Plus, they got a strong manufacturing base. I can go on and on and on. But all these factors, when you add them all up, it makes, again, the super peso, which is what you hear a lot of. You're in these circles. The super peso is what's causing this havoc, in a sense. But again, havoc to other people, not to Mexico. So Mexico, again, as it's getting stronger, in a sense, as all these other countries are falling apart, getting weaker because of bad economic decisions, because of, a faltering, manufacturing base. I could go on and on. I could go on, turmoil in the country, and I could go on and on. All of these countries, USA, Canada, many countries in Europe, many countries, all over the place, in Asia as well, and all over the world, they're having all their problems. And because they're having all their problems, well, guess what? Their currencies are becoming worth less and less and less. So when you compare it straight, just the Mexican peso to all these other countries with their currencies, I mean, yeah, they're all burning dumpster fires, and the Mexican peso, in a sense, is basically backed by gold and silver, among other things, okay? The Mexican people, you know, all these things that I already mentioned. So when the dollar now is compared to, you know, again, when you're doing the exchange rate now with the peso, well, guess what? You know, at the end of the day, the dollar really doesn't have that much value, and it keeps losing value. But when you're putting it up against a currency that's getting stronger, that's when you finally see the weakening dollar. The reason you don't see a weakening dollar against other currencies is because all these other currencies are also weakening. All these other economies, all these other countries are also falling apart in a sense. So it's all kind of going laterally. But when you see a country that's going the opposite direction, this is how you see it. This is literally how you see it. So the lower this goes, that means the more opposite these countries are going in direction economically. I'm just talking about economically, meaning that Mexico's getting richer, stronger, better, you know, and all of these, you know, meaning a bigger middle class, which was unheard of in Mexico for a very long time. Mexico's always been the rich and everybody else, the poor. And now it's basically the rich, the poor, and a huge middle class that keeps growing and growing and growing. So as the middle class explodes and grows, well, guess what? So does the economy. And if all of the manufacturing is coming to Mexico from China, plus, you know, the right now the proximity, again, to Mexico from the USA, all of the trade problems that we're going to be having, that we're, again, having already with China and the rest of the world, well, the U.S. is not going to have that big of a problem because of, you know, the trade. But what's going to happen is, again, that you trying to retire in Mexico, now all of a sudden you're going to have a more difficult time. It'll be like, hey, I'm going to go retire, you know, in Spain. I'm going to go retire in, you know, Milan. I'm going to go retire in Switzerland. You know, that's really what Mexico's going to turn into that. It doesn't mean you can't retire in Mexico, but if you're going to retire in Mexico, you got to have money. It's not going to be what it used to be, where you could just come to Mexico and, you know, post up with like $1,000, you know what I mean, a month, and, you know, you're living like a king. Those days are again, quickly going away. And, you know, for me, you know, again, you know, I'm already integrated into Mexico, and so I make pesos. You know, I'm integrated into the economy. You know, as, you know, we make more future videos and episodes, you're going to see exactly what it is I'm doing out here and I'm going to be doing out here. But long story short, I'm preparing. I'm prepared. I know. I seen this. I saw writing on the walls many years ago before anything happened. And I've been slowly but surely preparing myself for this moment. And this is why, you know, again, I'm starting a business. I'm going into business for myself and making pesos, okay? I'm tapping into the very strong Mexican economy that can, you know, again, buy my products and so on and so forth. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm not worried about the dollar or anything like that. In fact, most expats and foreigners are looking at the exchange rate getting lower and lower, and they're panicking and freaking out. I'm not. I'm just licking my chops. I'm like, that's right. You know what I mean? Let's make that money, because I'm making pesos. You know, and so that's really the reality of it. So if you are smart and you come out here and start making pesos, you got no problem. But again, if you're just retiring and that's all you got, and you got a small retirement, it might not be a good idea. Now, if you come to Mexico, you know, let's say you got money, okay? Not a lot of money, but enough money to like buy a home in Mexico and eliminate things like rent. And maybe with that home, get things like solar panels, get whatever, and eliminate a lot of these costs. Listen, it doesn't matter, you know, even if you have $1,000 a month, that'll be plenty of money, even if it goes 1-to-1, maybe. No, not 1-to-1. If it goes 1-to-1, you're kind of screwed. But if it goes 1-to-10, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? You won't even feel it in a sense, because you know, you really don't got to pay for rent, you don't got to pay for utilities, you don't got to pay for a bunch of things like that. That's the beauty about Mexico. But the reality is that, you know, it's not the same. You know what I mean? So if you're Mexican and you're out here, you're just actually getting, you know, and if you're most Mexicans are actually getting like whatchamacallit, a pay increase. They're getting you know, again, a raise in a sense, you know. All right, let me see some comments real quick. All right, Hiv Loco says, I just saw Karencita's husband. I think that's another channel, right? I think so. Anyway, shout out to Diana with the $3. Thank you very much. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. Okay, sorry about the... Okay, so anyways, I just saw Karencita's husband got a job that pays in Mexican pesos instead of dollars. That's it. Yeah, I'm telling you. And so, oh, that's great. Because I know the channel. I'm not, familiar with a lot of people out there, but he's a foreigner and he's getting paid in pesos. So that goes to show you. He's like, I don't want dollars. I don't want euros. Give me pesos. Smart. So, Fox says, let's say problem is not Mexico. The problem is dollar. You must get... Anyways. So yeah, look, long story short, at the end of the day, we've talked about this in other episodes. This is not really, financial advice or anything like that. But, in order to survive what's coming, no matter what's coming, because we don't know what's coming, but something's coming. It's right, it's eventually going to come. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow or in a few months. It might be years still. But long story short, how do you hedge? How do you hedge yourself? How do you have your own hedge fund? Hedge yourself against inflation, against a lot of these things that are coming no matter what. You buy things like gold, you buy things like silver, you do like Mexicans do, you buy property, there's ways to survive this. But this question that was asked to me by Bobby was just basically more concerned about like, hey, I only have like around $1,000 from Social Security, and as the exchange rate gets lower, I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to survive out here in Mexico. And this is a very real concern. And this is why we're having this talk and having this conversation, because that's the truth. If you are older and, you got your expenses like medical expenses, and just certain, fixed expenses you cannot get away from. And all of a sudden now your budget keeps getting smaller and smaller due to the exchange rate. Because again, think about it. You came here 6 months ago and you might be getting 20,000 pesos. And now you're getting 17,000 pesos. And now Jose on YouTube is telling you, hey, by the end of the year, you might be getting 13,000 pesos. And now 13,000 pesos, that's lower than, just an average low middle class or middle class Mexican makes. And what if it goes lower? Again, 1 to 10. What if you only get 10,000 pesos, not 20? All right. And expenses add up real quick, because like, for example, your rent might be measly, but it still could be like 3,000 pesos, 5,000 pesos, 6,000 pesos out of 10. And that leaves you what? 4,000 pesos for everything else? That might not be enough. So probably not going to be enough, So that's the thing, So it starts getting real dicey. As for anyone that's just coming out here to retire, it's starting to get real dicey. Now, it's not to say that, there are not other parts of the world in which you can retire and, you'll be getting a lot of money, a lot of bang for your buck, a lot of bang for your currency. But when it comes to Mexico, if you're coming to Mexico to you're young, you're coming to Mexico to live, to start a business, to go do that, start making dollars. Oh my God, you'll be in a great shape. I feel like I've landed in Mexico at the right time, where I'm going to be able to take full advantage of this. Hey, just like many immigrants took full advantage of this in the USA, when they arrived during the golden years, the golden age, so it's the same thing, So that's the thing, that's the reality of it. Let me see. So interesting to hear that places like Japan are more reasonable for exchange between pesos. Yeah, you should look into it. Look, I'll give you, I don't know, because we can't really, the thing is like when you're watching the travel videos, you'll see, because when you're seeing a travel video and they're like, okay, this is 50,000 yen, but 50,000 yen into pesos these days, like, oh, that's cheap. Because then you see what you're buying for that, but like otherwise it's like, unless you're like well versed in that, it's kind of hard to see. But that's how you, when you're watching travel videos from now on, just to get an idea, start doing the thing in pesos as well, and then you can see, you're gonna immediately see like, oh wow, that's pretty good. I bought pesos when they were 500 equal to 25. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now a 500 peso note, a 500 peso note is worth like 30 bucks. So yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, so, you know, even something like this. Here, let me, hold on, because I got one here. Okay, so this is a 500 peso note. Back when it was 1 to 20, you know, back when it was just 1 to 20, this was basically $25. You know, this was $25. And so guess what? You know, let's say that it went 1 to 21, 1 to 22, 1 to 23. So then this was not $25 anymore. You know, this was now $24, $23, 20, you know, like that. But now, since the peso is getting stronger and it's the opposite, so now this, let's say I got this for $25, you know, when I exchanged it, well, today it's worth $30. So if I get a bunch of these and this trend continues, I'll be making money. This is not financial advice, you know, this is just common sense, just like anything else. So it's up to you. But at the end of the day, it's like if you're in Mexico and you're planning on living and moving in Mexico and stuff like that, I mean, why do you want dollars? You know, most people don't want dollars. They want pesos because they know that if they get paid in dollars or they hold on to dollars, well, they're just going to keep losing value. But if they hold on to pesos, they're going to keep going up in value. Okay? I mean, look, we can look at the price of something like silver. Look at that. Silver, in a sense, you would say, oh, silver is dropping in price. You see right there, because look, just like a week ago, it was over 500 pesos. And you're like, oh my God, that's dropped in price. Look at that, 484. But again, if you do the math, look at that, $28 for an ounce. Okay? That's how you really know. You know, it's things like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, man, you know, so these have, even though they're just sitting here on my desk, these coins of silver that I bought a long time ago, and I bought these like at 15, some of these at 15 US dollars a piece, you know, the exchange rate, and how much is it worth now? It's like basically double. And like, oh, there's no money in gold and silver. Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, as this gets worse and worse, you're gonna see how quickly these things are worth or not. So yeah, long story short, I've already doubled my money on this, you know? And the bank, how much is the bank? So the bank right now, so I bought it for 15. Okay, I bought it for 15. Just to give you an idea, I bought this for 15, a silver coin. Okay, maybe 20. All right, and right now, let's say I'm gonna go and take it to the bank to give me 4, and look at that, it's already giving me over spot in a sense. You know, so even though I bought it for, let's say 20 or 15, I'm still getting more from the bank. Yes, you can take this straight to the bank and they'll give you money for it. That's how much they'll give you for it right there. You're looking at it. Okay? That's how much the bank will give you for a silver coin right now. Okay? $22.37. Okay? So, and if you go to BBVA, assuming they buy it, I don't know if they're going to buy it or not, it'll be 400. So it'll be more. But whatever. Let's just say 384, 400, okay? But yeah, you know what? Let's do 400 because some people will buy for 400. Let's say you go to a private dealer, they'll probably give you 23. They'll give you straight up 400 for it. But knowing that this is worth more than that, you know? I'm telling you. So, oh, shout out to Hiv Loco with the $20. Thank you very much. Thank you. Much appreciated. Kind of like getting in onto Bitcoin early and getting out before it tanked. Yeah, exactly. You helped me just by talking about it. Yeah, exactly. And look, right now, you know, Bitcoin is also a thing that, you know, people are gonna, you know, they still get into and talk about and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are also going to be part of this whole transition, part of this whole thing. I don't want to get into all that. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But, you know, again, you know, when the time comes, time to buy Bitcoin again. I'm not going to buy no cryptocurrency right now, but soon, you know, once the time is right, you know, you're going to buy back in on that. So, but the thing is that gold and silver, for example, they're boring. You know, they're just like a hedge. This is just insurance. It's boring. Boring as hell. So that's why a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are like, oh no, I'd rather just go into stocks, or I'd rather just gamble, again, with stocks or cryptocurrency or whatever, which again, it's it can also be held and a hedge against inflation. If you never have to spend your Bitcoin, you're winning all the way up. But the sad reality is that a lot of people invest in some of these things and they gotta, spend money. They gotta use some of that money, and that's where they really lose it. José Monsi says, when I get pesos from the ATM, I only get 16 per dollar, not 17. Yeah, so you already know. It's even worse when you got to do it like that. So that's why, again, I talk about, trying to get a Mexican bank account or trying to transfer money other ways in order for you to get the best exchange rate. So, yeah. Hiv Loco is saying kind of like, yeah, I already read that. Okay, but anyways, yeah, it's an interesting time to be alive, though. That is for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, gold and silver, man. Right now, if you look at what's going on with gold and silver, you'll really get to see, what's going on. Look at what's going on in like the last year. You can see it there. What's going on in the last year, But like, let's just go, look, let's do like 10 years, okay? So you can see. You can really see, all right? And the thing is that, the more money they print, the more out of hand the economy gets, the more valuable these things are going to be. And remember, these prices are not the real prices. These are just the prices that are given by speculators that are, again, there are a bunch of paper contracts more than anything else. If you really want to know like the actual price of a coin, if you really want to get shocked into oblivion, and again, this is not financial advice. Remember, I'm a guy with a horse and okay? This is just a weirdo here, doesn't know what he's talking about. But long story short, if you really want to know the price, go to usdebtclock.org, okay? And then you can see it there. Look, as a matter of fact, look how bad it's gotten that, again, I can't show you the mouse, but it's all the way to the right. All the way down there on the right column. Is it right, left, whatever, all the way on the other side of the screen on that column. He sees dollar to silver ratio now, dollar to gold ratio now. You see an asterisk there. When you see an asterisk there, that is because it has gotten so out of hand that they cannot even put a price on it, okay? But let me give you an idea so you can get an idea of what really is, what it's worth, okay? So you see right down there where it says paper to silver contracts, okay? So what that means is that for every physical silver coin, okay, there is 333 paper contracts, okay? So let's just do some simple math. Right now, okay, this coin, I don't even want to get it complicated. Let's just do $20. This coin is worth, no, wait, it wasn't $20. Wait, hold on, we just did the math. Hold on a second, 484. Okay, we're going to go with the Mexican price, okay? 484. Okay, so 28, okay, we'll just do $28, okay? So $28, okay, so each coin is worth $28. So what is 28 times 333? It equals $9,324. So long story short, this coin that is worth, basically $30, $28, okay? $28 worth of silver. The real price that's supposed to be on this is $9,300. Okay? Again, it's just some guy on the internet. Don't listen to me. Some guy with a talking horse. Yeah, don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. All right? So yeah, don't listen to me. I don't know nothing. All right? But that's what. So when you're seeing the asterisks, is because that is changing so much. The paper contracts, they're adding more paper contracts so fast that they can't even keep up with it right now. Okay? And what are paper contracts? Well, that's how they manipulate the price of silver, because if there was no paper contracts, meaning fake silver, fake paper silver, well, then this would be worth $9,300. But since there's all that fake paper silver to, water down the price of the silver, then that's why it's worth only $28. Make sense? Yeah. Anyways, you can do the same thing with with gold and other assets, okay? But longs, derivatives, exactly, correct. Thank you, Todd Meek. Correct. So long story short, the whole conversation about, the dollar to the peso. Look, this is why these things are happening, okay? And a lot of people might not be educated or well-versed or even want to admit the reality of what's happening, but it's happening, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. And it is what it is. All right, Mexico's sitting on some of the biggest silver reserves in the world, among, again, oil, lithium. I can go on and on. A monster work and labor force, and so on and so on. So all these combined are going to just make the peso stronger and stronger and stronger. While all these other countries are doing the complete opposite to their own countries, to their own currency, including the U.S. You've seen what's going on in the U.S., and then look at that. Now, again, there's many things that could happen. I don't know what could happen tomorrow. Hey, the U.S. might release something like, I don't know, like an application called FedNow, and all of a sudden tell the people overnight, hey, look, we got a brand new currency, and hey, this currency is backed by gold, and all this gold that we've taken from all of our enemies, for decades. And so, hey, guess what? We're richer than China. We're richer than anybody else. So we're going to establish a brand new dollar, and then, this whole conversation would be moot because at the end of the day, now it's basically everybody pulls their balls on the table, pardon my French, and then it's just to see who has the biggest pair, and then that's how we do it, okay? Now, remember, the U.S. leads the way right now because we've got the biggest military. That's how we really impose the power of the dollar and all this other stuff. But let's not kid ourselves. It's the trust that people have in the dollar. The more we print, the less trust there is. The less that we print and the more we control what we're doing out there, the more confidence in the dollar. But at the end of the day, it's just a very complicated issue, and we really don't know the answer. We can only speculate. But if things are just staying as is right now, status quo, and it just keeps moving in this direction, everything doesn't change, there's no major change, no black swan event, nothing crazy like that, it's just the same old, you can be expecting a bunch of the same, okay? Now, we have another, pandemic or another World War III. Oh, yeah, you better believe that almost overnight, you're going to see it's going to go $1 to 25 pesos. Like that. Why? Because, Mexico's going to be great, and they still have all those great things going for it, but now we're going to go into World War III, and everybody's like, hey, Daddy, USA, can you help us, please? Thank you, please, sorry, we weren't, sorry, USA, and then before you know it, the USA is, hey, you know what I'm saying? Back at the top. I don't even want to get into it. This is one scenario. So there's a lot of things in play here. And, the reality is that Mexico is growing. And no matter what happens, you're going to be, Mexico is going to be experiencing a lot of richness, a lot of fortune, a lot of great things, no matter what happens, all right? And, it really all depends on you and who you are. If you are an American, a digital nomad in your 20, 30, 40s, in age, and you're coming out here and all you're doing is just trying to, live off the good exchange rate, you're probably going to end up in Thailand, in Bali, in some other part of the world in which, hey, you're going to, the exchange rate's going to be in your favor. But if you plan on moving to Mexico, living in Mexico, making Mexico your home for the future, you really, really have to consider, taking the steps into, again, starting your own business, getting a job in Mexico, doing whatever you got to do to get those Mexican pesos, because as time goes on, your currency is going to be worth less and less and less just because of so many other factors, okay? Remember, let's not get it twisted, you know what I mean? Even if we go into World War III and the exchange rate goes to 1 to 25 because blah, 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 there might not be as many remote jobs as you think there are going to be. So you might have to integrate one shape, form, or another. And that's the thing. The reality is that the more hardship you have in your life and have dealt with in your life, let's say you've traveled the world already, you've been in the military, you grew up poor, you've had all the world against you, all these things against you. Listen, you're going to come to Mexico, no matter what the hell happens, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to thrive, and you're going to survive, and you're going to be awesome. But if you're coming to Mexico and you are, either a millennial or a baby boomer that is basically an overgrown brat, and are just coming out here expecting things to be on a silver platter, expecting things to be a certain way, you're not going to survive. That's like, going to France and going out there and trying to be, more elite or more, exuberant than them. They're going to, you're going to leave Paris with your tail between your legs, okay? That kind of thing. And that's the thing. Mexico's turning into that. Mexico doesn't need you as much as you think they do, and they love you, and everything's great, but, hey, things are changing. You better play ball or get the hell out. Just go sue another country, all right? That's going to take your shit. That kind of stuff, all right? All right, let me see some more questions, all right? I think we're wrapping this baby up, unless you guys have any more questions or follow-up questions or comments or whatever on this subject before we wrap it up. Okay, remember, we have one more question to answer. Okay, so don't leave. Remember, we got one more video. We're going to go live again in a few minutes, few seconds. Okay, so don't go anywhere. We'll talk about that in a second. All right? I just want to go through the chat and see where we're at right now. So, anyways, yeah, thanks for the comments, guys. Shout out to everyone out there. And again, shout out to Hiv Loco with a $30, right? Shout out to the $30. That's gonna buy me a lot of pesos. That's right. Thanks for all those pesos. In fact, those $30 are, oh yeah, there you go. It's gonna be 500 pesos. So you gave me 500 pesos. Shout out to you, bro. All right. And once YouTube takes its cut, let's say, because YouTube has to take a cut, so then I get, okay, so 343 pesos. Bruh. All right. I think we've yeah, so now when you see like the solvency, when you're looking for like temporary residency or whatever it is, and now you're starting to see, like, again, the minimum that they're asking for if you're trying to buy your temporary or permanent residency, trying to just get residency that way. You're seeing why it's increasing. It's because of things like this, but at the end of the day, it's because what they're doing is that they're valuing it in pesos now. It's always been in pesos. Sorry. It's always been in pesos, but now that the peso has gone up in value, now that's why you're seeing, oh my God, that's so expensive. That's so much money. And it's like, well, things have changed, so now it's just different. But long story short, we've talked about it in other videos, okay, which, prompts me to talk, about, the next subject here. But long story short, what was I saying about the residency? There's many ways in which you can get residency, and we talked about that in multiple videos and we've talked about that multiple times. And I know you know this. Shout out to you, Todd. Thank you very much. All right, real quick, guys. I want to give a big shout out to everyone out there. All right, for hanging out with me today, watching today's live stream, talking about this subject. We have one more subject to do. As you know, every single Thursday we ask and answer 3 questions. Okay, the first question today was, what was the first question today? Jeez, I talk so much. Oh yeah, the first question today. Jeez, I really do talk a lot, right? Thank God I can make a living off talking a lot, right? Bruh. Anyways, all right, so back to what we were saying. Okay, so the first question we asked today and answered today was, is there affordable healthcare in Mexico? We went through that already. Now we answered this question, which is, can I still retire in Mexico if the peso keeps getting stronger? Hopefully I answered it thoroughly for you guys. And then we got the next question, okay, which is coming up next, all right, which is, why do I make videos about living in Mexico? By the way, shout out to, who was it? Shout out to Mary Jane. Yeah, that's her name. Shout out to her. Shout out to her for asking me this question. And we're going to be answering that in a few minutes, all right? As soon as we wrap this bad boy up. So if you want to know how to get there, all you got to do is go to my YouTube page. Okay? Just click on my thing there. Click on my face with my wife, right? It's going to take you to my YouTube page. And on my YouTube page, you're going to just be able to click on here. And then it's going to take you there. And then, look, we already got a bunch of people waiting. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to PL. Shout out to everyone out there. Bonjour. Bonjour. I can see everybody in there. Ho, ho, ho. Oui, oui, oui. So we're going to end this okay, live stream in a few minutes. And then I'm going to meet you there where we're going to answer the last question of the day. But before we go into that, I know a lot of you guys are wondering how you can ask me a question for me to answer for you and the audience. So you guys already know I do one-on-one consulting. A lot of you guys want to just, do a Zoom call or a phone call with me and talk to me about a bunch of questions, that you want answered about moving to Mexico and living abroad and all that other stuff. So, I do one-on-one Zoom calls. But some of you guys, you've gotten so much free information from my videos that you really don't need to ask me any questions per se. You probably have like 1 or 2 questions you don't have the answer to. So then this is where you can just go to the link that I provide in the chat, that I provide in the comment section, that I provide in the description, that I provide everywhere. And then you can just click on that link. And by clicking on that link, it's going to take you straight to my website. It's going to take you actually to this page on my website, which it explains everything. I explain everything, and I show you exactly, how you can ask me a question. Basically, you send me an email, and I can answer the question in private, or I can answer the question in video format and live stream format, so that everyone can, get the answer. So it's basically a way in which, you can just send a donation and then get your question answered, and then at the same time help the community by providing this question for everyone else, okay? The answer and the question and all that for everyone else. So again, if you want to know how you can do that, just click on the link, go to my website, where it says consulting, and you'll find all the stuff there. Plus, you'll get to find the playlist that shows you all the previous questions that I've answered and videos that I've done. And that's it. I mean, you already know the deal. It's a simple, easy peasy. You already know. If you want more information, just go there and it'll explain everything. So with all that being said, all right, it's time for me to wrap this one up and meet you at that one, which is, the doozy. Everyone wants to know. It seems like everyone wants to know, why do I make these videos about living in Mexico? And I'm going to answer that because that's what Mary Jane asked me. So with that being said, all right, guys, I'm going to see you guys in a few minutes. Bruh. All right, and we're going to get this bad boy started. I need to take a quick little break so I can, rest my voice for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get this started. So I'll see you guys there in about 5 minutes. All right, so guys, thanks again for watching. Again, if you're watching this in the future and you want to see more questions answered, just click on the playlist that you're gonna find there. They're just gonna pop out of nowhere. Also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe there. Subscribe. All right, guys, thanks again. Love you guys. Peace out. See you guys in the next question. And look at that, we got another $3 from Hiv Loco. Shout out to him. All right, we're gonna give another shout out to him over there. So I'm coming, guys. Give me a few minutes. Give me a second. Bruh. Thank you.